Hello and welcome to the Insecure Chef. Today we're going to do Sloppy Joes, the famous beef dish that we loved as children and hopefully still love today as an adult. We're going to be doing it, of course, in the Ninja Foodi, which I try to do just about everything I can in there because of its convenience. So let's get started. What I've got here, this is going to be for just two of us because we're very tiny. And I have basically a half a pound of ground beef that's pretty much thawed. So we're going to be starting out by browning it up. We'll come over to the foodie. I already have about a half a cup, a little more maybe, of water. And I've started on the saute and on medium. So with that, I'm putting in the beef. Okay. And now I'm just going to obviously chop it up. Now the key here, and the reason it's on medium, is that we don't want to really brown this up. Okay, we really just want to get all the pink out of the beef. So I'm not going to be cooking it at a high saute, and this will just take a few minutes. As you can see, it's pink right now. So we'll come right back as soon as this gets the color lost without turning it into an actual browned up beef. See you in a bit in here. Okay, so if you look now, you'll see that most of the pink color of the beef is gone, but it's not really particularly browned up like you might when you were getting ready. So I'm going to slow it down there right now. I'm just going to turn the foodie off for the moment. And what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to actually pull the entire bowl out, and I'm simply going to drain it. I'm going to drain the beef right here. Oh, I'm fighting with my kitchen here. I'm going to drain the beef, and that way I'm just going to keep, should have took my glasses off. Just want to keep a little bit of the juice on the bottom. So if you look, you'll see there is some here yet on the bottom. And now I'm just going to get rid of this beef here. Okay, here we go. All right. So, getting rid of the beef, essentially, leaving that, probably 2 tablespoons, maybe a little more, at the bottom. And the reason that's going to stay there is because that obviously is a mixture of water and oil, and it'll be perfect for sauteing the vegetables, which is the next step. All right. So, I'm going to saute the veggies now, and as always, if you'll just hold for a second, important thing, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here you can see the vegetables I've got mixed in. And as I mentioned a minute ago, the recipe will be on the site. This is basically a green bell pepper, an orange bell pepper, and some onions. Not much because some people in the family are not major onion lovers, but they're in there. So we're going to go back, turn the foodie back on. You don't have to turn it off if you don't want it originally. I just didn't know how big a delay I had going. And I'm going to go to saute. And I'm going to go back to medium. And I'm going to start it up again. Okay, so as soon as that'll come up, and that'll be relatively quick, we're going to begin the sauteing of the veggies until they're soft. And that won't take long at all. Meanwhile, there's some beef at the bottom. That's fine. And if you think you need a little bit more water or something, that's welcome too. Just don't go crazy, because this eventually will all turn into the sauce for the sloppy joe. So I'm going to dump in the veggies now. Okay, make sure I got everything. Yeah, I think that looks good. And then I'm just going to get an initial stir around. And I may add some water, but again, I'm talking about very little amounts. Very little altogether. Don't tell anybody I'm going to use a little tap water. Yeah, that's all I wanted. Just to give it some juice to play in. So we're on medium now for saute, and this won't take long, and we'll bring you up to date in a minute. Okay, so if, the veggies are fairly soft now. It's up to you for how long you want to saute them, but that's good for me. I guess you can get a good look at that. And now I'm going to put the beef back in. Now, for those people who like garlic, that's now would be the spot that you would do it in, or any other additions that you want that cook quick. But for me, we're ready to go. I'm putting the beef back in. All right. And I'm going to stir that around. And right now, I'm still on medium saute. All right, I'm going to keep stirring that around. Okay, I'm going to bring that down to just basically a slow simmer. And right now I'm at medium. You may have to play with the adjustments because you don't want to burn this or dry it out exceptionally. So I may be going back and forth between medium and medium low. So I'm going to go to medium low right now. And I'll be playing with that for a few minutes until this kind of gets where I want it to be. And then I'm going to be adding back in the remainder of the ingredients. So we'll get started with that. If you want to come over here, see how quickly I can measure this for you. All right, we're going to start off with some yellow mustard. We've got a half a teaspoon of yellow mustard. And I've got my measuring spoon over here. Half a teaspoon, half a teaspoon. Problem I have with mustard is I can never get it out of the measuring device. So I always kind of cheat, put a little bit more because I know I don't get it all out. So we're going to be putting that back in. And then you can really cheat some more by doing that. That's close enough. Okay. Next thing we're going to put in is a teaspoon of chili powder. So I'm going to move over to the teaspoon. And half a tablespoon. I'll find it. Ah, there it is. A teaspoon of chili powder. All right. And as long as that's been cleaned, I can put that straight in there. All right, half a teaspoon of chili powder going in. Here's a nice, that's one of the great flavors that have to do with sloppy joes. And now I'm going to put in between 1.5 and 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. It really comes down to the sweetness that you might like or whatever. I'm probably going to use about 1.5 teaspoons. So here's a teaspoon. There's one. And I'm just going to estimate half. And that's 1.5. Okay, and that takes care of the brown sugar. And the last ingredient that will be going in here right now is going to be about 1/4 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. As you know, the Worcestershire can be very powerful, so don't go crazy with it. I found that 1/4 teaspoon seems to work just perfect for our taste. But if you do make this with any frequency, you may modify things to your taste. So I'm just going to go with 1/4 teaspoon. Now that should do it. Looks like nothing, but believe me, it's got very strong flavors. Alrighty. And now I'm just going to give this a good stir. And again, as I mentioned, I'm going to be going back and forth with the temperature. So I'll be back when we're almost done. All right, so this has been sauteing now for about 30 minutes. And if you'll take a look inside, you'll see that it looks pretty good to me. The only thing is it doesn't have the barbecue sauce and the ketchup yet, the last 2 ingredients. So I'm going to put that now. You may have noticed that I had a lid on the Foodi. That's not necessarily required, but if it's evaporating too quickly and you're concerned that it's going to dry out, you can put the lid on it. But at worst, you can always add more water, beef broth, chicken broth, whatever, just to give it a little consistency. But remember, you don't want this to be very liquidy because it has to be thick enough to sit on a bun. So now at this point, I have a mixture here of barbecue sauce and ketchup. Again, they're 1/4 cup of each. The recipe's on the site. And I'm going to put that in now. And I'm at low-medium right now. I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to have to scoop it out. That could take special work. I'm going to use the back of my right here. My cameraman is in the way. But we don't pay her much, so.
You'll let it slide.
I'll let it slide at this point. You know how unions are. All right, so I think we got out just about as much as we're going to get out. Gonna rinse off the back of that. And now we're just going to stir that up. And as I said, you have to do your own judgment to make sure that it gets to the consistency that you like. Keeping in mind, as I said, it's designed to sit on a bun. Now, of course, if you're not going to put it on bread, well, then you can have it any consistency that makes you happy. Normally, Tabasco or some other hot sauce would go in here as well. Again, some of us like it mild, some of us like it spicy. So Tabasco and those things can always be added as you make your own individual sandwich. So I'm just going to let this brew for another 5 minutes at tops. I'm going to move the temperature back to medium. And when we come back in 5 minutes, we'll pretty much be ready to go. All right, so I think this is now completed. I'll see if I can get out of my camera person's way so they can take a look. All right, and that's about the consistency that we like it at. It will sit on a bun, but it will be sloppy a bit, and I think that's the whole point. So at this point, we're about ready to wrap up. All we're going to do right now is we're going to take the buns. We use sesame seed hamburger buns. You can use anything you want. We'll probably warm them up and then make ourselves a nice sandwich. That with a couple of veggies on the side, and I think we'll be good to go. So, from the Insecure Chef and his lovely wife, Regina, we bid you a bon appetit.
Bon appetit.